And we want to go now to our reporter, Charlotte Potts. She is on the scene directly near the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church, where the incident took place tonight. Good evening to you, Charlotte. So,
hi, Brent.
What are you hearing there? We've been talking all evening about a lot of uncertainty. What are you seeing? What are you hearing?
Well, you can see the church behind me. That's right where the Christmas market is at and where people were gathering tonight to just have a mulled wine. I was talking to a couple of bystanders, and we heard the lady who had the stand there talking before me. But the bystanders who witnessed the truck running into the market, they were of course, in a kind of shock. They heard people screaming. They heard wood bursting once the truck ran into the wooden stalls there. And they were saying that usually they feel very safe here in Berlin, in the center of Berlin, especially at Christmas markets, enjoying the Christmas season, and that they couldn't have believed that anything like this was about to happen here. So one person that I was talking to was just enjoying a mulled wine with some friends when the truck ran in. So he heard people screaming. He couldn't believe what was happening. He was turning around to help the people, and he was saying that within 5 minutes, actually, the police was there trying to lock down the scene and, of course, help those injured and rescue all of those that could be rescued. We're hearing, of course, the police has confirmed that 9 people are dead, 50 are injured. The area behind me is still on lockdown. We can't get any closer to the Christmas market at this point because there is still police gathering evidence, and the truck that is quite destroyed is also there. I saw that before. You can clearly see that that half of the truck is still basically in the wooden stalls on the Christmas market here.
And have you been able to ascertain if we're any closer to calling this or the idea of this maybe being an accident? Have you heard anyone there at the scene talking about this? I mean, when it first happened, no one was saying the word accident, but now that is a possibility, we're told.
It is a possibility still, and we haven't been able to confirm whether this is maybe a terror attack or if it's indeed an accident. This scene is, the Christmas market is right in between 2 streets here, between 2 main shopping streets, between streets that are usually very busy, that are full of cars. To me, it does seem a bit unlikely that a big truck would just basically go off course, shift off course, and crash into the Christmas market. But at this point, I don't have any more information to you, and the police is not confirming nor denying at this point whether it was an accident or if it was indeed an attack, maybe.
Yeah, we're still, waiting to find out if we're going to get any confirmation one way or the other on that. What are you seeing there, Charlotte? I mean, the area is still cordoned off. Is it still in lockdown? Kind of describe what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, this is usually a very busy area, and this Christmas market is indeed one of the most iconic Christmas markets in Berlin. I've been here actually just recently with friends just a couple of days ago. This is where people would gather after work to have a mulled wine. It's around 100 wooden stalls that are there, and where you can try the local food, have a wine, and kind of meet with friends after work. Right now, this area is under complete lockdown. We're hearing ambulances and the police are trying to gather evidence. As they've told us before, we're seeing police heavily armed, guarding the scene, wired tape to kind of keep bystanders off. We've seen a lot of curious bystanders indeed who've been trying to get a closer look at the scene, see what's going on there, and the police has been trying to kind of keep them in check and keep them away. Of course, the international media is gathering here, lots of journalists, but at this point, as I said, the police is not letting people closer to the scene. It looks like right now all of the injured The bodies of the 9 dead people, they are indeed recovered, and the injured are brought to the hospital. So this scene is completely cleared, but of course the police will be looking for further evidence here.
And the 50 people who were injured, do we know any more about their conditions, Charlotte? Because we had heard earlier that there were possibly some people who had been severely injured, maybe even with life-threatening injuries.
Yeah, of course, those 50 people injured, there could be life-threatening injuries amongst them. I can't confirm that at this point. I know that they were brought to at least 2 different hospitals here in Berlin where they are treated at this point. Of course, the doctors there, they are on high alert and trying to do the best possible. But I can tell you at this point no more. I can tell you actually at this point that no more casualties have been confirmed yet. We'll have to see how that plays out throughout the night.
Yeah. Well, we certainly hope that the numbers do not rise tonight. Okay, Charlotte Potts there on the scene near the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church. Thank you very much, Charlotte. Well, earlier, Berlin's Mayor Michael Müller.
Well, Fabienne, I want to cross over to Charlotte Potts to get the latest, because she's standing by for us at the scene as close as she can get due to that police cordoning off of the area. Charlotte, bring us up to date with the latest. What's the scene like there? And is the rescue operation continuing, or has it come to a close now?
Yeah, it's a kind of eerie scene here. It pretty much resembles a ghost town. Usually at this time you would still have a lot of people walking down the streets. You know, the Christmas market would be just ending at this time, and now it's pretty much deserted. The police and firefighters are still in the area, but at this point the rescue mission is nearly over. Well, let's say it is over, because all of the injured are brought to the hospital. I just talked to the head of the firefighter mission here. They said they exactly trained for these kind of cases where dozens of people are injured. And indeed, they rescued 45 people, he confirmed tonight, and brought them to the hospital. Those people are injured, some of them severely injured. And of course, they recovered those 9 dead bodies. This is what we know so far from the firefighters. But this area is still full of police cars, full of firefighter trucks. And the truck that ran into this Christmas market, it's still there, it's still on the scene, and the police is probably also still around, because they are still trying to gather evidence from it.
And Charlotte, what else have police been telling you there, and when can we expect to get a full statement once again from authorities?
I don't think that we'll hear a full statement on as to what was behind this, if it was indeed an attack or an accident or anything like that. I don't think we'll hear about that tonight. I think there will be some kind of press conference tomorrow morning. At least that's what one police official has been telling me. As I said, they are still on the scene. They're still trying to gather evidence and kind of cooperating between the authorities as to what they have found, and insofar this area will stay under lockdown. Also for journalists, you've mentioned it before, we can't go any closer to the scene. You see the church in the background. It's very close to where the truck hit the market, and right now one thing we also know is that this truck was driving this beside me is basically one of the main roads. It's usually busy, full of cars while the Christmas market is going on. And the truck was driving on a side of the street, or on the piece of the street that was actually not a curve. It was just a straight road, which makes it more likely in a way that this could have been either an attack or that the driver fell asleep. I don't want to speculate, but it was a straight line. And he took the truck off course. He took it to the right and drove it right into the Christmas market, where he ended up pulling through the Christmas market by about 50 meters, the fireman said. So he took down, the truck took down several of those wooden stalls that are assembled there. It's a Christmas market where you have around 100 of those wooden stalls, and several of them were completely crashed. And of course, those 45 people were injured and 9 people confirmed dead.
All right, Charlotte, thanks for that update for now. We'll be speaking to you again a little later. But a little earlier, the spokesman for Berlin's police gave a statement at the scene of... Well, we can cross back over now to our reporter Charlotte Potts, who is at the scene for us as close as she can get. There's a police cordon there, of course. Charlotte, when can we expect to hear more information from authorities now?
Well, the police is giving brief updates every once in a while, every hour here to journalists. They are also tweeting, and you've basically mentioned what they've told us so far. 9 are confirmed. 9 people are confirmed dead. 45 people have been brought to the hospitals. Some are injured, some are severely injured. So we'll have to see how that plays out through the course of the night. They've been brought to at least 2 hospitals, and they've been telling us that the passenger of the truck, the co-driver, so to say, that he has been found dead in the truck, and that the suspected driver has been caught. But this is all they've been telling us, and we are expecting to hear a full press conference with all the findings of the night, with all the evidence that they've gathered surrounding that truck in the course of the morning hours.
All right, Charlotte, thank you. It's a swiftly developing situation. Well, our reporter Charlotte Potts is directly at the scene near the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church. We can cross over to her now. Hopefully we should be able to speak to her shortly. She has updates from the police, I believe. Charlotte, what more can you tell us?
Yeah, Helena, we've just heard a brief statement from the police. They are now confirming that amongst those 9 people that died on the Christmas market today are Germans and foreigners. They did not mention the nationalities of the foreigners, but they did indeed mention that those were tourists. There are tourists among the dead. It is not surprising. This is a Christmas market that is very popular amongst tourists and also with locals. So this is the latest, what we've just heard from the police.
Charlotte, thanks for bringing us that update on the 9 fatalities, including Germans and foreigners, we're now hearing. So let's go over to our correspondent Hans Brandt at our parliamentary. Well, our reporter Charlotte Potts is on the scene directly near the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church. We can turn to her now. Charlotte, bring us up to date with the latest that you've been hearing there from the scene.
We've just heard from police. They confirmed that there are actually 12 fatalities and 42 people injured that are in 2 hospitals at the moment. They are all brought to the hospitals. So the scene is cleared here. This area around the Christmas market is still on heavy lockdown. There are ambulances still at the scene, firefighters and the police. They are still trying to gather evidence from the truck that is stuck in the Christmas market. The truck, you see the church behind me next to the Christmas market. It's a very famous Christmas market, a very popular Christmas market where tourists go and also Berliners. And the police have also confirmed earlier that there are indeed Berliners and foreigners amongst the fatalities, amongst the 12 people that are confirmed dead right now. So the truck passed the church and then took a right and ran right into the Christmas market. And we've also heard from police that it drove up to 50 meters into the Christmas market, taking over the wooden stalls there, driving over them and injuring all those people.
Charlotte, so many questions remaining. It's a developing situation. When can we expect to hear more from authorities?
The police is giving briefings as we speak. Every hour they are coming out and sharing with us the latest developments. They are not gonna give us any more details tonight as to whether this was a deliberate attack or an accident, as to whether this was maybe a terrorist attack. They've said they are not going to release any information on that tonight, even though the suspected driver is in custody right now and is being investigated by police. The police have confirmed that they will hold a big press conference tomorrow at 1 p.m. German time, and they will share their findings from the truck, the evidence that they gathered at the scene at the Christmas market at that hour.
Charlotte, we understand that the rescue operation there has concluded, but were authorities considered to be promptly on the scene? Were they prepared for this?
Yes, they were. I've talked to several witnesses who have said that the police and also the firefighters were immediately at the scene. So basically 5 minutes after it happened, there are a couple of firefighter stations around the corner from this Christmas market, and also the police station is not far away. So they were there within 5 minutes and trying to rescue those people. I've talked to a firefighter earlier who said it was, of course, one of the most difficult rescue missions that he had attended in his lifetime, but that his firefighters had been preparing for situations like that, for situations where dozens of people are injured, and they were able to, save the scene. And we'll have to see how it goes as the night goes on.
Absolutely. Our reporter Charlotte Potts on the scene there, directly near the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church. Thank you for that update. Well, if you're just joining us, let's bring you up to date with the breaking. Well, our reporter Charlotte Potts is on the scene directly near the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church. Charlotte, what can you tell us about where this incident happened?
Well, I'm standing here in front of the Christmas market, basically where it happened. Behind me, you can see the church, the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church. It was bombed in the Second World War. The roof is still bombed off. They never built it up. It's a very popular Christmas market where people basically gather after work to have a mulled wine. I wasn't able to get any close to the scene tonight because the police really put the area on absolute lockdown, so you weren't able to get any close to the truck or the area where the people got injured and died. But I was there last week. In fact, this Christmas market is one of many of Berlin's Christmas markets, and as I mentioned, a very iconic one because of that church in the background. And I was having a mulled wine with friends. There are around 100 wooden stalls there where people are enjoying local foods, enjoying their mulled wines, trying to stay warm out in the cold, or buying Christmas presents and Christmas ornaments. So a very popular place to meet, especially after work. And usually the streets are very busy around 8 p.m. Also, next to the Christmas market, there are two main roads. They are usually very busy. And what is interesting is that the Christmas markets in Germany, they are not barricaded. There are no fences around it. It's very open still, even though the security level is very high at the moment. And Germany, of course, is on high alert in terms of possible attacks. But, as I said, a very open Christmas market where people were really enjoying themselves around 8 p.m. tonight.
Absolutely, that's an important point that you make there, Charlotte. Even if you weren't going to the Christmas market, you may pass through this to go to shops or to go to the underground station, for example. It is a thoroughfare as well. Can you tell us as well what the latest you have heard now from authorities?
Yeah, I mean, this area around the Christmas market really resembles a ghost town. The police has put it on complete lockdown. You can't get any closer than 300 meters. The police right now is working on basically gathering evidence, finding, for example, DNA traces in the truck. I was just closer at the scene, and you can still see the truck. It hasn't been towed yet. You can still see the wooden stalls that have been crumbled there. So the police are still working on finding evidence and trying to figure out what has happened and who's really behind this. Yeah, this is what I can tell you at this point.
And Charlotte, what turn do you then think that the investigation will take from here?
Well, it is very interesting. I mean, there has been a lot of speculation tonight whether this is an accident, a deliberate attack, or whether this is an act of terrorism. At this point, the police is not clearing that up. They are not giving out information. We know that the suspected driver is in custody, and the policeman that I've been talking to a little bit earlier, he has been telling me that they are investigating that suspect, that they are indeed talking to him, but that they won't release any more information about who that person is, what his nationality is tonight. They are going to hold a big press conference tomorrow at 1 p.m. German time, and that is when they want to release more information about the suspect, about where that truck actually came from, if it was stolen, as we've heard, from a Polish company, and what was behind this possible attack.
All right, our reporter Charlotte Potts on the scene directly near the Kaiser Wilhelm Memorial Church. Thank you for that update. Well, if you're just joining us, a reminder of this